Welcome. We have another one of our fantastic sponsors here today. We have Dr. Rachel Potter representing Mary Baldwin University. We're going to jump into the details of Mary Baldwin University, what they have to offer, because there's some unique things that line up with our conference, of course. But the cool thing about the sponsorship is it allows us to do even more and offer more things. So first of all, thank you for sponsoring. And let's start with a little bit of who you are and what you've done, I guess, what your background is in behavior analysis. Maybe jump off there.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm Rachel Potter. I've been at Mary Baldwin 10 years. I run our ABA program. So we have undergraduate and graduate, as well as some postgraduate certification programs for students who are seeking credentials in ABA. I came about it a little bit differently. I have experience in the juvenile justice system. So I started as an educator, working primarily with students who were pending adjudication and kind of fell into it that way. But I also happen to have a child who is on the autism spectrum. And so between my experiences as a parent, my experiences in the juvenile justice world, and kind of putting those together, eventually decided to seek board certification on my own as well. So really glad to be running the program there and absolutely enjoy the work and love teaching first and foremost.
Nice, that's super cool. The criminal justice background, that's an interesting one. I've read a little bit on that, but I occasionally run into students or people online that are looking for someone that has that background. So now I have someone that I can point to at the very least and say, head this direction. Because I run into it quite frequently, a few times a quarter where people are like, I want to work in this area. What is there? And oftentimes I'm pointing, I feel like, to books from the 70s, 80s, that I just feel like, here's a good start, but like so outdated at the same point, right?
Sure, cool. Sure.
So Mary Baldwin University, let's jump in a little bit here. I think there's some pretty cool things that you've shared with me before I want to dive into when it comes to the background and the different expertise of the clinical faculty that are there, as well as that it's asynchronous. So maybe just start talking about that. I can share the webpage here real quick as well for folks.
Absolutely. Yep. So we have, I'm going to let this dog out here too. We have degree seeking programs at the graduate level. So we have a master's in science and applied behavior analysis, which includes the verified course sequence for the BCBA. We have an undergraduate program. We have a Bachelor of Arts in Autism Studies and Applied Behavior Analysis. And sometimes people will say, well, but ABA isn't autism studies. And you know what? That's absolutely right. So what's unique about this undergraduate degree is it's actually two different things paired together. So it includes the BC ABA course sequence, as well as separate from that, a 12 credit hour certificate in autism spectrum disorders paired together. We have the verified course sequence for people who already have the necessary degree and just want the coursework because they intend to pursue board certification. Those are the primary offerings that we have for ABA. So we've got the verified course sequence under the 5th edition, all online, all asynchronous, and we also have partnered with the International Behavior Analysis Organization to meet their requirements as well. So as the board begins to transition out of credentialing folks outside of North America and a few other countries, we'll be partnering with some of those countries as well to help provide some consistent instruction and credentialing for those folks as well.
Nice, that's really cool. So the asynchronous component, can you dive into some of the details? Like, are there still classes that people have to show up to, or is it purely asynchronous?
So absolutely. So it's 100% asynchronous from the student's perspective. There's no required component where they have to, log in at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And part of that is because we've made this commitment to the international community, and because we want to keep our cohort small, that we have not set up those specific times, but we've also made a commitment to our students to make our faculty available. So our faculty are very quick to offer review sessions. Hey, I'm going to be doing a review Sunday at 2 and Saturday at 4 p.m. If you want to chime in, we're going to be reviewing this unit. Come on in. You don't have to, you're not obligated to, but feel free. We're also seeing students connecting with each other on the discussion boards, finding their own study groups, which has been really neat. And our faculty certainly always are happy to set up phone calls, web meetings with students, regardless of where they are in the world, and accommodate time zones for our students who are scattered wherever they are.
Nice, that's really cool, having the flexibility of those sort of things, especially with so many folks that I feel like find our field and then they're like, oh, I've got, this degree, or I've got this experience, or I've got this job, or I've got this role, or I've got this family. How do I fit this in? Because I want to dive in. So it's a really big component. The faculty you had shared that there's, and this makes sense since you're talking about how your degree program lines up with more than work in the area of autism, spectrum disorders, and other neuro differences. But can you share a little bit of the expertise that they all have?
Absolutely. So one of the commitments that we made in launching our program was that we wanted to make sure that we hired faculty who had expertise using behavior analysis across a variety of disciplines. So even though so much of the research that we read and the examples that we seem to come across involve early childhood and autism, we wanted to make sure that we had faculty who, in addition to having experiences beyond that, were also willing and committed to sharing experiences and readings and classroom activities that would be beyond that. So we have a faculty member whose primary expertise is OBM and the business world. We have a faculty member who has experience primarily with students who have sensory disabilities, students who are blind and deaf. We have a faculty member who has done a lot in the area of sexual development and individuals with developmental disabilities. I bring in my area within the juvenile justice system. So we've really tried to be as well-rounded as we possibly can in making selections of faculty who we permit to teach for our program.
That's awesome. That's super cool. There's so many applications of behavior analysis potentially, right? Or using learning science, or however folks want to talk about it, and having the breadth of experience there. That was a big component to me realizing the possibility, at least myself, of what behavior analysis could offer. Is slowly learning through faculty of like, wait, what's that? Like, what do you do? How do you use this? So that's super cool. Okay, so I guess the how does this line up a little bit with CHATTcon? I guess like there's some themes I see here, but I wanted to ask you why sponsoring, and is there anything that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year I'm fortunate that part of the budget that my department has allows me to choose and have the discretion to choose what kinds of sponsorships that I want to invest in for our department. And this year CHATTcon caught my eye. I love the fact that it takes the human experience and the animal experience and provides those opportunities for students to see integration between the two. I have personal experience working in service dog training as well. And so the excitement to be able to see that I've experienced from the learner perspective as well as the educator perspective, the opportunity to work with Tag Teach. And so being able to see all of those integrated in one place, some amazing, well-known names of folks who are speaking at this conference, how could you not, how could you possibly pass up the opportunity to sponsor a conference like this? So absolutely excited about this. And before even, making the decision to do this, sharing the information and link with my own students saying, hey guys, check this out. This is one to look for. This is one you might want to register for.
Nice, cool. Appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words. We were sharing before we went on air that it's for Joan and I, it's this really fun project because we get to slowly discover people. And I don't know if folks know this, but it's usually about half the people that Joan invites over I've never seen myself, and vice versa. So there's always for each of us kind of like a quarter, a third of the total people that are on the conference state where we're just like, we trust you, but we've never heard of this person. And then when we hear the presentations, we're just like, mind's blown, like this is amazing. Where did you find this person? So it's a very fun project, just because there's so many people doing so many things out there. So for anybody that's curious, we've got folks from the medical field, veterinary field, behavior analysis, technology, sports training. We've got folks in clicker training, different areas of animal training. We've got some folks that work on teams related to like neurology, neuroscience sort of applications. It's really cool. And it's like, I guess selfishly, right? But like this place for a playground of like all the sharing of the cool things that are going on among scientists out there across different applications. So very cool. Is there anything else with Mary Baldwin University or any like closing words of wisdom maybe for folks?
Yeah, and linking back to CHATTcon too, and you talked about sports, right? And some of those examples, one of the things that I love about our program and love when I see a conference like this that's able to incorporate all those different applications is, I look at our student body. We have a fair number of students who come through our graduate program who are actually not seeking behavior analytic credentials at all, but they're choosing to come through our graduate program as an alternative to a traditional sports psychology program.
Really?
And they're coming through because they're realizing that we are not promoting our program as a disability-oriented program. We're promoting it as a behavior analytic program. And we just graduated 2 collegiate coaches in our last group.
No way.
One is a collegiate soccer coach, one's a collegiate softball coach, and they have chosen to come through an ABA program. I mean, how fantastic. And so we're trying to find a little bit of a groove in some of these alternative areas. And so when I see a conference like this, that really excites me because I think it really aligns with our mission at Mary Baldwin in trying to find some alternative ways for people to see the dissemination of behavior analysis and how it can extend so far beyond this traditional view of it being so aligned typically with disability, and certainly absolutely has its place, right? And that's what insurance pays for. So that's where we get the majority of our students. But this is what energizes me. And when I can share that passion with our students so that they can see these applications beyond. So.
Nice. That's really cool. Congrats on, I feel like sometimes in our field, there's like talk of like, this is what we need to do, but y'all are doing it. You're living it out, making it happen. So that's super cool. All right. We'll wrap up there for the live folks. You can check out the link down below, everything you want to know about Mary Baldwin University, some contact information down below as well. And we'll see you on the event dates. All right.